You don't really see hammerheads in a public aquarium all too often.
Just for safety measures, make sure you don't actually get your fingers in there. They don't really care if they bite your finger off.
My name's George, and today we're here at the National Aquarium of Denmark, Blå Planet, located just outside the city of Copenhagen. We're here with Emil, who's going to be giving us a private tour.
Total of 7 million liters, 17,000 individual animals, 700 species.
Animals free roaming in here?
Yeah, it really is a jungle.
Corals are literally growing out of the water.
We're going to be feeding our red-bellied piranhas. It's going to be a real shock.
Wow. This place looks like so modern. Like I'm in a spaceship.
Where do we begin? There's so much to explore.
So I always tell people to start at our main tank, which is called the ocean. A saltwater tank with about 4 million liters of water in here, where we have all of our biggest elasmobranch sharks, of our big rays.
This is an enormous panel.
The window itself is 8 times 16 meters. Total animals in here are 300 individuals and 45 different species.
Tell me about some of the species.
So what we're seeing is our big scalloped hammerheads, you just pointed out.
Some of the biggest sharks I've seen in a public aquarium. Like this hammerhead is huge.
Yeah, so that's our large female right here. She's about 2.5 meters. We have 4, 1 female and then 3 male.
And they all get along?
Yeah, they do.
Who's the boss in this aquarium?
Right now, it's our big female hammerhead. She's become aware of her size. She just knows that there's nothing here that can really mess with her. So most of them have their own little zones. Our big female hammerhead has this one corner over here of the tank, and she's protecting that. So anything goes in here, she's gonna let them know to back off. You see our zebra sharks over here with the long tails. These two are actually kind of funny because they're not just traditional leopard print. They're a new morph. This is called a sandy zebra shark. It's something that we and a bunch of master students actually discovered. So that's a guitar fish. It looks like you take the front part of a ray and then the bottom part of a shark and just click them together. But they are actually rays. And we also have our ribbon-tail rays right here. These big dark stingrays swimming across. They get so big, 3 meters in diameter when they're fully grown.
It's crazy. Wow. They're even bigger when you get up and close. So how thick is this acrylic?
1/2 meter. You can actually see like the grooves where we have to fuse it right here.
Yeah.
You sort of get this little feeling of the depth of it. Right now we're inside the tunnel of our ocean tank. All of a sudden you're just in between all of these species. You get a sense of how they move around. You see the eagle rays and the wobbegongs here just moving about.
This guy. What is this?
A wobbegon.
Oh, that's the wobbegon.
Yeah, that's the spotted wobbegon. They mostly stick to the bottom. That's why I love this tunnel as well, because it's almost guaranteed. Whenever I have to show somebody a shark, I just go and point here. I don't even have to look. He has his little corner right here. Now we're just moving up towards the top of the ocean tank. It's gonna be noisy in here because we have the top part of the filter system going on.
Sounds like the ocean. Oh yeah, it smells like the ocean.
Turn on the lights here.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy. Where are we right now?
On top of our main tank, our ocean tank, biggest aquarium that we have out here. You can see all of our big hammerhead sharks, all the rays, the golden trevallies.
You can realize now how big this aquarium is.
Yeah,
It feels so much bigger.
just so curious coming up here.
That's crazy. Like when they stick half their head out.
He's investigating a lot right now, just trying to see is there anybody over here who might be able to feed me.
You don't really see hammerheads in a public aquarium all too often.
No, not
and
really.
Not this many and not so big. All right, so we're about to feed all of the rays. Wow, he's coming up.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What are these?
Eagle rays.
Eagle rays.
Yes.
We are officially in the splash zone. They just know you. They don't know me. I gotta earn this trust.
For most of our sharks and rays, we feed them every second day. What we mainly do is target feeding, where we call all the different animals up to the surface and then give them this whole seafood buffet. A lot of local fish, squids, just a way for us to also inspect all of the animals a little closer, see how they're doing, and make sure that everybody gets what they need to get.
Do divers, I'm assuming, get in here? What's the maintenance on this like?
Once a week, we have to clean everything. We have to go down and polish the windows, wash away polyps, and clean up shark teeth.
Shark teeth?
Shark teeth, yeah. So
Really?
Sharks lose their teeth continuously through their life. 10,000 teeth in a lifetime. So we often just find half the bottom here is just scattered shark teeth, which is so cool. You can sometimes see it on the edge of the tunnel as well, where it drops down.
That is cool.
Everywhere.
You just check this out.
Yeah, exactly.
She literally just lifted her eye out of the water and looked at us.
It's like the coolest feeling, having that eye contact with an animal that size.
Is this a feeding schedule or are the fish learning like arithmetic?
No. So that is a feeding schedule for the male hammerhead sharks. They have their feeding station here, and then we can just keep track of who gets how much during each feeding.
What is this thing, this big circular ring?
Yeah, so this is a holding pen, but we can't just throw new animals in here because it's just gonna mess up the dynamics. This is a way for us to introduce new individuals in a more controlled environment.
Basically one massive acclimation container.
Yeah, exactly. So So right now we're heading down to our kitchen to grab some food. So this is where everybody who starts working here gets lost for like the first month. No one can find their way around here.
Hello. Oh my gosh.
This is Amanda and Simon, two of our zookeepers here. We're just preparing a bunch of food for a lot of animals. This is our animal kitchen. So we put out 50 kilos of food each day, which amounts to about 20 tons of food a year.
Food here is for all the birds out in the rainforest as well as the bats. Also some worms here for all the geckos, for the lizards that's running around out there.
Besides the mealworms, the rest of it looks really good.
Yeah, delicious here.
You just come in here as well.
Wow.
And then everything else is just stocked up in our freezer.
Oh wow, there's a fridge within a fridge.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the freezer.
That's our freezer where we keep all food, and then we just take everything out the day before and plan everything ahead. It's a lot of meal prepping, really.
Yeah. Oysters, clams, all the way up to big actual fish.
Something that we're going to be using today, walnuts and potatoes. They're also going to go to some fish.
To fish?
Yeah, it's a fish. This one, and then we'll grab this one.
Two very different meals.
Those are two very different meals, and all of this is going to some of the animals in our rainforest. Now we are walking into our rainforest, and just feel that heat hit you right as you enter here.
Wow.
It's so cool.
We're in the jungle now. Animals free roaming in here?
Wow. Yeah, it really is a jungle out here. So those are Victoria crown pigeons.
Wow. This is insane. And there's butterflies in here too.
Yeah, exactly. So you really have to take in everything. You have to look up, down, in between, and to look out.
Yeah.
There's just animals everywhere, which is kind of like a real rainforest, and that's really what we're going for here, that there's always going to be another animal everywhere you look. Right now we're going to be feeding our school of red-bellied piranhas.
Red-bellied piranhas.
Red-bellied piranhas, so you know, these very characteristic piranhas, famous for this ferocity, but these young ones are just so much crazier than the adult ones. There's no hesitation really, it's so cool. There are about 1,500 individuals in this school. So here I have a fish husk, and then just watch as it hits the water, how quickly these guys are to just go at it. And you just drop it in here. There we go.
Oh my gosh.
And then you see these small flashes of that red belly when they're just turning and grabbing this one bite.
They are going to town on that. Jeez.
Wow. Yeah.
Dude, that is crazy. There are just like hundreds swarming this piece of fish.
Would they react the same way if a human being got in the water?
No, so they wouldn't do that. You don't have to be afraid of them. You of course have to be cautious around them because potentially they can do a lot of damage. But really piranhas are quite scared. The only reason that they go at it this way that we see here is because the fish is already dead. So usually what you'll see is that something hits the water and then the whole school is just going to move away from it and then wait for one of the larger individuals to move in and take the first bite. And once they all see that, okay, it's not doing anything, then they all attack it. First piece is literally just the spine that's left. It's so cool. And then all the small fish here are just gonna pick up all the remains here.
The bat cave.
The bat cave, exactly. So you can just see them coming out a little bit, just grabbing a bit of fruit.
Oh, did you just see that? He just flew in here. Whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, wow.
This big Argentinian horn frog, which is really, really nice.
An albino Argentinian horn frog.
Exactly. Pool of water here, and you have tadpoles.
Ah.
So there's a frog right here.
Oh. And then we got stingrays over here.
And then we got the stingrays over here in the shallow end. And here we're gonna start by feeding some real giants in the archerfish, which is a big South American fish living in the Amazon. So for this one, we're giving them a few whole fish. And then it's just a matter of me aiming a little bit. It's gonna be a real shock. It's so cool. Should we try? There we go.
Wow.
They're my favorite fish to feed. They're just so cool.
The arapaima. That's the largest scaled fish in the world. That's
Exactly.
so cool.
There we go.
That is so much power.
Yeah, it really is. They'll just hang about under the trees and wait for anything to fall in. So that can be like fruits, eggs, small reptiles, mammals, anything.
So now we're down to the nuts and the potatoes.
The veggie diet is actually going to go to a different species of piranha, which is called a pacu.
Yep.
Really massive, and they're vegetarians. Pure maneuverability of the mouth. There you go.
Oh wow, they're fast.
They are, yeah. We're doing sea otters now.
Probably already know this, but just for safety measures, we are going to talk about it anyway.
I know nothing about sea otters, so.
Okay, well, then you will know that they are, can I swear on you?
Yeah, sure.
They are crazy to be 100% honest about it. Just make sure you don't actually get your fingers in there because they don't really care if they bite your finger off.
Got it.
Yes.
So these guys look cute, but they are kind of mean.
They are really, really mean. And they do worse things, but I'm not going to say that.
Okay.
I don't know quite what I'm up against here. I'm so nervous after that intro, you know? Oh my god. I can see his teeth.
stuck his whole arm through. Don't take that handshake. He's trying to pretend to make peace. I don't negotiate with terrorists. Mojo is all white. What does that mean?
Because he's an old guy, older they get, the more white they get. They generally live to 20 years and he just turned 12.
All right, this is like the main course. Are you ready for it? This is the fillet. There you go.
The deal is we allow you in here as long as you bring us food. I wouldn't feel safe at all in there without giving them the food.
Really? Cool. Thanks so much for showing us. This is a loggerhead sea turtle.
This is a loggerhead sea turtle.
Where do these come from? You don't find these up in Scandinavia, right?
No. These are way further south, much closer to equator. Funny story, so he's stranded on the west coast of Denmark back in winter of 2020. He's only the 6th turtle to land in Denmark in the past 100 years.
Really?
So our working theory is that he actually hatched somewhere around Florida and then he just followed the Gulf Coast out to the Atlantic. And then somehow he got mixed up in the currents and then got swept all the way across England where the water cools down, and then he was just dragged to shore here, and then we found him.
You guys like, well, welcome to Denmark.
When we got him, we had to treat him for a severe case of pneumonia, but now he's doing really good.
For all my freshwater scrubs, they even have a massive planted tank here.
So much is just going on, just the plants alone, right? And then all these really big fish hidden in here.
Massive school of fish right here. Angelfish, tetras, the rummy-nosed tetra, the glass catfish. That's nuts.
These are the archerfish. They live in the mangroves, which can be a really harsh environment because salinity and depth and temperature just vary so much throughout the day. So there isn't a lot of food going on down there.
They're spitting water out.
So they're literally spitting water. Yeah, they take water in from behind the gills, and then they have this little groove in their mouths, and then they're able to press that out as a beam.
Wow.
And then they use that for shooting down like insects and stuff like that from the trees instead.
Crazy.
So I mean, they're pretty accurate at about 2 meters. You can see all the watermarks up here from when they missed their target. You see, I just wiggle this a little bit, and then there we go. So they're really accurate.
That's so crazy.
They're so
cool. What an interesting adaptation.
It really is. This is the octopus tank. So in here we have our day octopus, which is a really cool thing to have in an aquarium, just because usually she is active during the day with all the suction cups visible. I mean, we're really lucky. I haven't seen her in a few days. Right in the corner there, she has a bunch of eggs that she laid.
She just changed colors.
And she just changed colors.
She literally just totally changed. Oh, it did come out. Isn't that crazy? Right as we were about to leave, she's like, wait, no. Whoa. Wow. She's coming out just for us. It's crazy. Whoa. That is nuts. All right, tell us about the octopus. Now that we got it out.
Yeah, so she is actually active during the day. She'll wake up about the time when we get in the morning before the visitors come. And then she's just gonna be moving around all day up against the window looking at people, really being a curious animal.
That is so cool.
Yeah. This is our main coral reef.
This is enormous. How long is this?
It's about 10 meters across, about 500,000 liters of water in here.
Billion.
Yeah, with 40 different species of corals and 50 different species of fish in here.
It's so wide.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Look at all the colors. It's nuts. And look at how big some of these corals are.
All interconnecting with each other, which is just so cool to see.
You guys are running out of space.
Yeah, we know.
All right, so now we're behind the scenes on the reef aquarium.
It says warning toxic animals. So we have a number of fish in here who are poisonous. Have stuff like puffer fish. If you're not careful, he's gonna be spitting water on you in a moment, just because he's impatient and begging for food, really.
Here he comes. Hi, buddy.
And you see, there he goes, starting to spit a little bit.
How are you? Look how big his eyes are. Wow. So cool. The corals are literally growing out of the water.
Yeah.
My favorite view of reef aquariums actually is the top. You get just an amazing view. This is behind the reef tank.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a cool little like lab area.
This is where we grow all the corals that we implement on our reef.
Wow, that's a lot of awesome looking coral frags though.
Yeah, so our seahorses had babies, which is just so cool.
Oh.
Here, I don't know if you're able to get
my
those.
God.
They're so small.
Look how tiny these are. Tiny little babies.
And I mean, they were like half that size when they hatched. You see, there's also a small baby clownfish all the way in the
so
bag.
tiny.
This is a touch tank, our tropical touch tank. So we have one for warm salt water with all the rays and the sharks, and then we have the cold one with more the endemic species to Denmark. So here we have cow-nosed rays mainly. These are very young individuals, so they're still kind of getting used to the whole idea of living here.
They're just babies.
They're really just babies at
They're
this
so
point.
little. This guy,
He's so yellow.
So that's a yellow pufferfish. Kind of an obvious name, really. In Danish, like the literal translation is black-spotted pufferfish. I don't know why we sort of ignored this whole yellow color and focused on these small dots, but and he's just
really
so
colorful.
Cool. Yeah.
It looks like he'd be a big old like melon.
And then of course you have the lionfish next to him who's just gonna come up here and just display everything and ask us to basically back off. Few of our animal handlers who are like really into this, they do it at home as well. Crossbreeding everything to get these cool different color variation. That is a humphead cichlid. You can see the males with this big large hump on the front of their face.
These are like big blue old flower horns. Speaking of pufferfish, now we're here with a freshwater pufferfish.
He's a really cool one. So he used to be kept by a private guy. Then once they realized that he was getting too big for like their home tank, they called us up and asked like, do you guys want it? And then we're like, yeah, sure, we can take it. So this is our soft shell turtle. See this weird looking nose, almost like a pig snout that he uses. So he just has to dip right above the surface to grab air, and then he's going back in for like another half hour, hanging out at the bottom.
Just chilling.
Open up the secret entrance here and then move in behind the scenes. Look at some of the animals that we don't really show in the exhibit.
Oh wow, that is fishy.
You just hit that smell immediately.
Yeah.
So this is all filter system for our cold water area. So this is where we keep all of the animals that we don't show in the exhibit. So anytime we get new animals in here, they start their life in here, getting accustomed to living in our water and getting used to the fact that we're coming and feeding them and handling them. So now we're heading into the bottom floor of the filtration system for our main tank, the ocean. All of this room here. All of our big sand filters, all these big white tanks, there are about 3 tons of sand in each one of these, where we push the water down through all these different grain sizes. And then once we get all the particles out, then it's then moved further back here through what we call a UV cannon. Down here we have 7 just for the ocean tank alone. So that's this big reactor looking thing here.
Wow, that is one of the most legit UV sterilizers that I've ever seen, I think. So what is this blue light that's coming out of these little
So that is the UV light that we see here, which is basically a sort of radioactive light. This is a way for us to remove bacteria and microscopic organisms by just pumping them through with radiation, destroying their DNA, effectively killing them that way.
He doesn't look like he's concerned at all about the UV radiation. Are those pumps?
Yeah, so they are pumping up. Yeah.
It is crazy though to see what goes on behind the scenes just to filter the water and make it look nice and clean. I love all these like huge like creatures that are just...
Yeah, so that's our special exhibit right now. Once Upon a Sea, a way to put everything a little bit in perspective and show what was before in the oceans.
Tell me about the architecture. This is like one of the most modern looking aquariums that I've ever been to. I've heard that this building has even won some awards for its architectural design.
It did win a number of awards. When we decided to build this, we had this vision that it was gonna be something recognizable both from land, from sea, and also from the air. So the whole thing is shaped like a big maelstrom, a lot of arms just twirling around here. Cool thing is that every single plane that lands at the international airport is going to be able to see it on their in-flight.
Christopher watched some of the videos. You had a question.
I was just wondering, it would be so cool if you could take aquashell to Denmark or maybe Europe.
I would love to do an aquashell here in Europe. If you guys want that to happen, comment down below. We'll see.
I'm coming, definitely. I asked Emil, and then Emil was like, there's a YouTuber coming. I was like, so Josh is coming. That was so nice.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that.
Remember to keep those nitrates low.
George, out.